You think you're starting over, but it's the same story with different scenery. A new city, a new job, a new face in your bed. And yet somehow the same ache follows. The same arguments, the same endings, the same quiet dissatisfaction that creeps in once the excitement fades. You tell yourself you've changed, but the truth is simpler and far more haunting. You are still running from the same thing in yourself. Carl Jung said, whatever you resist not only persists but grows in size. The patterns that haunt your life are not coincidences. They are messages. The universe, or what Jung called the unconscious, keeps repeating what you refuse to understand. You think it's bad luck. You think you keep attracting the wrong people. You think life is unfair. But life is not punishing you. It's mirroring you. It's trying again and again to bring your unconscious into the light. The universe is not cruel, it's precise. It doesn't send pain without purpose. Each repetition is an invitation. Are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to see what this is actually about? The faces may change, but the energy is identical. You leave one toxic relationship and find another dressed in different words. You walk away from one career that drained your soul, only to build the same prison somewhere else. You move to a new place, hoping for peace, but the noise inside you makes the same sound. That's not coincidence, that's curriculum. Jung called this process fate's education. The psyche uses outer events to reveal inner truths. What you call bad timing is actually divine precision. The soul arranging scenes to show you what you keep avoiding. When you run from yourself, the universe becomes your mirror maze. Every turn, every face, every heartbreak reflects what you refuse to face. You cannot outrun what lives inside you. The patterns will follow until you understand that they were not here to hurt you. They were here to heal you. The relationship that broke you was not punishment. It was a mirror for your abandonment. The failure that humiliated you was not cruelty. It was your ego collapsing under its own illusion. The emptiness you feel is not absence. It's space being made for truth. This is how the universe works. It breaks everything that isn't real. And every time you ignore its whisper, it speaks louder. Every time you look away, it raises the volume of your lesson until it becomes impossible to misunderstand. We call it rock bottom, but in Jungian terms, it is the confrontation with the self. The moment when the outer world stops cooperating with your inner denial. You can call it the universe, God, the unconscious. It doesn't matter. The message is the same. You will meet yourself one way or another. The patterns are not your punishment. They are your path. The pain is not the problem. It's the teacher. And if you don't listen when life whispers, it will scream, not to destroy you, but to wake you. We've built entire lives around the art of not feeling. We call it ambition, productivity, hustle, independence. But if you look closer, most of it is not drive. It's distraction. You fill your calendar to avoid your silence. You chase achievement to drown the echo of inadequacy. You build an image so polished, so admired, that no one suspects how fragile it really is. Carl Jung warned that modern life had become a neurosis of success, a collective flight from the inner world. We no longer descend into our depths, we decorate our surfaces. We run so fast that even suffering can't catch us until it does. The ego is a brilliant architect. It builds escape routes that look like progress. It convinces you that more is meaning. But the truth is that much of what you call your goals are built on fear. The fear of slowing down, of facing yourself, of hearing the silence underneath the noise. So you keep moving. Faster, louder. You call it chasing your dreams, but really you're just trying to stay ahead of the emptiness. The mind has infinite ways to run. Through relationships, calling obsession passion. Through work, calling exhaustion dedication. Through entertainment, calling avoidance self-care. Through spirituality, calling escape transcendence. Even healing can become a disguise. You can turn therapy, meditation, even self-awareness into performance. Just another way to feel in control of the uncontrollable. But the universe has patience, infinite patience. It will let you build your castles of control, your empires of distraction, your carefully managed identities. And then, when the structure is complete, it will place a single crack in the foundation. A job loss, a betrayal, a diagnosis, something that interrupts the rhythm of escape. And suddenly all your walls begin to tremble. That's not cruelty, that's correction. Because what you've built was never meant to last. It was scaffolding, temporary shelter for the self you thought you needed to be. The universe, or the unconscious, is not interested in who you pretend to be. It is interested in who you are. And so it begins the demolition. Not to punish you, but to free you. At first you resist, you scramble to rebuild. You call it a crisis. But what's falling apart is not your life. It's your disguise. The ego sees collapse as failure. The soul sees it as initiation. You've mistaken movement for meaning, speed for strength, distraction for purpose. But the truth is, every escape carries you further from yourself. And the further you go, the more violently life will call you back. Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And yet no one escapes forever. The architecture of escape is brilliant, but it's temporary, because eventually the universe turns every hiding place into a mirror. And when that happens, you don't run anymore. You stop, you listen. You realize that what you've been fleeing all this time was never the pain. It was your own reflection. There comes a moment when the universe stops negotiating with your illusions. No more warnings, no more subtle whispers, just silence, then collapse. Everything you built to protect yourself begins to fall apart, piece by piece, until you're standing in the ruins of your own control. You call it tragedy, you call it failure, but the universe calls it mercy. Carl Jung believed that what we call breakdown is often breakthrough in disguise. The moment when the unconscious, tired of being ignored, takes the wheel. The ego screams, "My life is falling apart," but the soul whispers, "No, it's falling into place." The sacred collapse is the point where the architecture of escape can no longer hold. You can't fake the job, the relationship, the persona anymore. The roles you play start to crack under the weight of your own truth. What once worked, distraction, denial, ambition, stops working. The universe isn't punishing you, it's pulling you back to alignment. It knows that the false self must collapse before the real self can emerge. And so, with a strange compassion, it removes every illusion you still cling to. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. You lose the job that was feeding your ego but starving your soul. The person you depended on walks away, forcing you to stand alone. The plans you made dissolve, leaving you face to face with uncertainty. At first you panic. You beg for the old life to return. You pray for the stability that once numbed you. But the universe does not rebuild your illusions. It waits, because collapse is conversation. Every ending is the psyche saying, "This is not who you are anymore." The sacred collapse is a rite of passage, an unmaking designed to reveal what cannot be destroyed. The universe will break every identity that was built from fear, every pattern that was born from avoidance, every dream that was never yours to begin with. And when there's nothing left to lose, something astonishing happens. You stop resisting. You stop pretending to be fine. You stop chasing the version of you that was never real. This is when the shift begins. Not a cosmic miracle, but a quiet surrender. You fall to your knees, not in defeat, but in recognition. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." He wasn't glorifying suffering. He was describing transformation. The collapse is not the end. It's the initiation into wholeness. The universe breaks you not to destroy you, but to remove everything that isn't truly you. When you lose what you thought you needed, you begin to remember what you really are. When you stop fighting the fall, you realize it was never a fall. It was a return. And in that stillness, something ancient stirs within you. A soft voice you haven't heard in years rises from beneath the wreckage. It doesn't give you answers, it gives you presence. It says you're home now. When everything finally collapses, there is nowhere left to run. The noise fades, the distractions dissolve. The people who once defined you are gone. And there you are, alone with the one person you've spent your entire life avoiding. Yourself. It's strange how foreign you feel in your own presence. You don't know what to do with the silence, with the rawness of being unmasked. There's no audience now, no performance to hide behind. Just you, and the truth you buried under decades of movement. Carl Jung called this moment the confrontation with the shadow, the meeting with the self that lives beneath the story. It is the psychological equivalent of standing naked before your own soul. There are no roles left to play, no identities left to protect. The first thing you feel is fear, not of the world, but of your own depth. You've built an entire life on the avoidance of this moment. And now it's here. The pain you refused to feel, the anger you suppressed, the shame you've been hiding, they all rise at once like ghosts returning to be acknowledged. Your instinct is to run again, to pick up your phone, to call someone, to distract yourself. But the universe has cornered you with compassion. It has stripped away every escape route so you can finally see what was chasing you all along. And what you find isn't a monster, it's a child. A small trembling part of you that's been waiting in the dark whispering, "Don't leave me here." That is the real confrontation. Not with evil, but with abandonment. Not with sin, but with neglect. You see now that what you've been calling self-sabotage was actually self-protection. The very patterns that hurt you were once the only ways you knew how to survive. Jung said that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The darkness, you realize, is not your enemy. It's your inheritance. It holds your lost voice, your repressed rage, your unlived life. You start to see your pain with new eyes. It's not punishment, it's memory. It's your soul's record of every moment you abandoned yourself to be loved, to be safe, to be enough. And now finally the bill has come due. Not as revenge, but as redemption. This is the real healing. Not fixing, but facing. You can't transcend what you won't touch. You can't escape what you refuse to feel. So you sit with it. You let the tears come, not as weakness, but as ceremony. You let your breath shake, your chest tighten, your heart break open. The collapse was the universe tearing down your walls. The confrontation is you walking through the wreckage with open eyes. You realize that the shadow isn't here to haunt you. It's here to reunite you with your humanity. And as you look at yourself, raw, imperfect, trembling, something unexpected happens. The fear begins to soften. You start to feel compassion for this person you've spent years running from. You whisper, "I see you." And for the first time, your soul believes you. Eventually, the chaos begins to make sense, not in logic but in meaning. You start to see that every event, every heartbreak, every accident was not random. It was choreography, a design too precise to be coincidence. The very moments that broke you were the ones that were breaking through you. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, the mysterious alignment between inner and outer worlds, when the psyche and the universe speak the same language. Life, he said, is not a series of random events, but a dialogue between your consciousness and your destiny. And when you refuse to listen, that dialogue becomes thunder. The lesson was never hidden. It was just painful to look at. You thought the universe was testing you. It wasn't testing you, it was teaching you. It was trying to bring you back into alignment with yourself. Every rejection was redirection. Every loss was liberation in disguise. Every collapse was correction. The patterns didn't repeat to punish you, they repeated to wake you. Because what you call chaos, the soul calls precision. You can only run in circles for so long before life draws you a mirror. Every pattern that repeats is an unfinished conversation with your own unconscious. When the same pain appears again and again, it's not life being cruel, it's life saying you didn't hear me the first time. You realize that the people who hurt you were not villains, they were mirrors. The situations that frustrated you were not traps, they were teachers. Even the moments that felt unbearable were sacred, because they exposed what could no longer stay hidden. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The universe, in its brutal tenderness, uses chaos to make you conscious, and consciousness always begins with discomfort. Because before you can find peace, you have to meet the truth. So you start to look back, not with blame, but with awareness. You see the relationship that failed and realize it wasn't love that ended, it was illusion. You see the job that drained you and realize it was never your path, just your protection. You see the breakdown and realize it was your rebirth. The chaos was never chaos. It was initiation. It was the universe dismantling your false center so you could find your real one. Once you see this, something deep within you shifts. The resentment dissolves. The self-pity fades. You begin to trust the intelligence behind your pain. You start to understand that the same force that broke you is the one that has been guiding you home. The lesson hidden in chaos is simple, but it changes everything. Life is not against you. It's trying to make you whole. Every time you ran from yourself, life chased you down. Not to corner you, but to carry you back to the parts you abandoned. The universe breaks what is false because only truth can survive love. And love, you now see, was the lesson all along. Once you begin to see the pattern, really see it, something inside you stops fighting. The struggle that once defined your existence starts to lose its grip. For the first time, you no longer feel like a victim of life, but a participant in it. The chaos you once cursed now feels like choreography. The same force that broke you begins to feel like guidance. Carl Jung wrote that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. But when it is made conscious, when you finally understand what life has been trying to show you, something extraordinary happens. The pattern ends. Not because life stops testing you, but because you stop needing the test. This is the return to alignment, the moment when your inner world and outer world begin to move together. You no longer chase, you no longer run. You begin to trust. Trust does not mean passivity. It means partnership. You start listening to the signals, not just from the universe, but from your own soul. You notice how the body tightens when something isn't right, how the heart expands when it is. You stop forcing doors open and start paying attention to the ones that close. You realize that peace is not a reward, it's a direction. And when you follow that direction, life begins to cooperate. Synchronicities return, not as coincidences but as confirmations. You think of someone and they call. You surrender to uncertainty and suddenly clarity arrives. You let go of a plan and the real one begins to unfold. This is not magic. It is alignment, the state that comes when the conscious and the unconscious stop fighting each other. You no longer pray for things to go your way. You pray to be aligned with the way. You no longer say, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What is this trying to show me?" Life becomes less about control and more about conversation. You start to understand that the universe doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your vibration, to the truth you're willing to live. When you're in alignment, even difficulty feels different. The pain still comes, but it carries meaning. The uncertainty still arrives, but it no longer feels like punishment. You stop seeing the universe as a judge and start seeing it as a mirror, reflecting your readiness, your honesty, your growth. Jung believed that healing is not becoming perfect, but becoming real, the union of opposites inside you. When you stop running from your shadow, you stop creating outer enemies. When you forgive your past, the future stops repeating it. When you honor your own rhythm, the world begins to move in harmony with you. Alignment is not about fixing life, it's about cooperating with its intelligence. It's about realizing that the same universe that broke you was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to make you whole enough to hold what you were asking for. And now you finally can, because you no longer chase love. You radiate it. You no longer demand clarity. You embody it. You no longer ask for signs. You are one. You have returned to yourself. And by doing that, you have returned to the universe. There comes a quiet moment when you realize you didn't survive. You transformed. The person who once begged for answers, who resisted every ending and cursed every fall, is gone. In their place stands someone humbler, wiser, softer. Not because life became easier, but because you stopped fighting what it was trying to make of you. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the unfolding of the true self through the integration of everything you forever rejected. It's not self-improvement, it's self-revelation. You were never meant to become someone else. You were meant to remember who you've always been beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the need to please or prove. The universe breaks you, not to punish you, but to remove the layers that hid your essence. And now, stripped of pretense, you begin to feel something ancient, a quiet sense of rightness. Not pride, not triumph, simply truth. You no longer confuse your reflection with your worth. You no longer chase people who can't meet you. You no longer measure your life by what you've achieved, but by how present you are within it. This is what it means to become who you were meant to be. Not someone invincible, but someone authentic. The ego dreams of elevation. The soul dreams of integration. The universe, in its infinite patience, keeps breaking what is false until only truth remains. That truth doesn't make you perfect. It makes you whole. And wholeness is power. Not the power to control, but the power to stay open. The power to remain kind in chaos, grounded in uncertainty, peaceful in imperfection. You understand now that purpose is not something you find, it's something you live. It's the natural consequence of being aligned with what you truly are. When you stop resisting your nature, you become an instrument for something larger. Life begins to flow through you, not around you. You don't chase meaning anymore. You become its expression. Jung believed that the self, the totality of who we are, has a destiny far beyond the ego's comprehension. He called it the transcendent function, the bridge between the human and the divine within us. You feel that bridge now. You sense that every hardship was a thread in a much larger tapestry, one that only makes sense when you step back and see the whole. Every loss refined your heart. Every mistake sharpened your vision. Every collapse carved out the space where truth could live. You've become what the universe was trying to shape all along. A vessel strong enough to hold light and soft enough to reflect it. And now, you don't fear the next fall. Because you understand that falling and rising are not opposites. They are the same motion seen from different heights. You've stopped trying to control life because you've realized you are life. The same intelligence that moves the tides moves through your veins. The same energy that spins galaxies spins within your soul. And when you live from that awareness, when you walk in rhythm with the pulse of existence, you no longer ask, why does the universe break me? You whisper, thank you for remaking me. At some point, running loses its rhythm. The exhaustion becomes louder than the fear. And there, in the stillness that follows collapse, you realize something both terrifying and liberating. The universe was never chasing you. It was guiding you back. Everything you called failure was instruction. Everything you called chaos was choreography. Everything you called punishment was preparation. Carl Jung wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But no one tells you what that privilege costs. To become who you are, everything false must burn. The illusions of control, the identities built from fear, the masks that made you lovable, all of it must go. And that is what the universe does with devastating grace. It removes the walls you built around your soul until the only thing left standing is truth. You call it heartbreak. You call it loss. You call it rock bottom. But the universe calls it homecoming. This is your invitation, not to escape your pain, but to embrace the intelligence inside it, to stop asking why me, and start whispering thank you. Because the moment you stop running, the breaking stops too. You will still fall, but the fall will feel different. You'll fall into understanding, not despair. You'll fall into yourself. You no longer need to be saved, only seen. You no longer need to fight the current, only flow with it. You no longer need to find your path, because you finally understand you are the path. Life has never been happening to you. It has always been happening for you. For your awakening, for your becoming, for your remembering. Every breakdown was an initiation. Every silence was a message. Every ending was an entrance. The universe breaks you every time you run from yourself, but only until you realize you were never broken. You were being reassembled. So here, at the end, or maybe the beginning, take a breath. Let the armor drop. Let the noise fade. Feel the weight of your own existence and know that it is sacred. If this spoke to you, if you felt yourself in these words, then don't just listen. Live them. Let this be your reminder that you are not being punished. You are being shaped. Subscribe, not just to this channel, but to your own awakening. Because the story of your life is not the story of what broke you, but of what you became after you stopped running. And one day when you look back, you'll see that every crack was a doorway. Every collapse was grace in disguise. Every time the universe broke you, it was only trying to set you free.